In the near future, technology controls almost every part of human life. People wear neural devices that help them work faster, learn quicker, and stay connected at all times. At first, these tools seem helpful and safe, but slowly something changes. The human mind is no longer a private place. Large corporations create machines that can enter human consciousness itself. They say the goal is communication and medical progress. In truth, these devices are used to watch thoughts, influence emotions, and control decisions without people ever noticing. Memories can now be scanned like files. Fear can be triggered with a signal. A single command can push someone to act against their own will. The mind has become a system, and systems can be hacked. Most people do not realize what is happening. They wake up, go to work, talk to friends, and believe their thoughts are their own. They trust the technology inside their heads, unaware that someone else may be listening. In this world, the greatest danger is invisible. You will not feel the moment your mind is touched. You will not hear the moment control is taken. And by the time you question your thoughts, it may already be too late. The city never truly slept. Neon lights burned through the night, reflecting off wet streets and towering metal buildings. Cameras watched every corner, drones floated silently above, and security systems tracked every movement. In this dark, controlled world, crime still existed, but it hid inside the human mind. Daniel Lazor was a senior investigator in a secret division known as the Observer Unit. Unlike normal police, the observers did not chase suspects through streets. They entered their thoughts. Using a neural link, Daniel connected his mind directly to victims and suspects, walking through their memories as if they were real places. When the link activated, Daniel felt everything. Fear tightened his chest. Anger burned in his veins. Sadness weighed on him like a heavy shadow. He saw moments from other lives, childhood memories, hidden regrets, and crimes replayed again and again. No lie could survive inside the mind. But these journeys came at a cost. Each connection left a mark on Daniel. Sometimes memories followed him back. Faces of strangers appeared in his dreams. Emotions that were not his own refused to fade. The line between his mind and theirs grew thinner every day. Doctors warned him to take breaks, to disconnect before permanent damage occurred. But the city needed him. Too many crimes were invisible, committed through hacked thoughts and controlled actions. Daniel believed that if he stopped, more innocent minds would be destroyed. Late one night, as the neon lights flickered outside his office window, Daniel removed his neural headset with shaking hands. He felt a strange echo inside his head, like someone else was still there. For the first time, he wondered if the Observer Unit was protecting humanity, or slowly erasing what it meant to be human. The emergency call came just before dawn. Daniel was still awake, staring at the city lights, when his console flashed red. The location shocked him. The dead zone. That district had been abandoned years ago after its systems collapsed. No cameras, no police, no rules, only silence and shadows. Daniel arrived with a small response team, but the streets were empty and broken. Tall buildings stood like dead giants, their windows dark and hollow. The air felt heavy, as if the place itself was watching him. Inside a ruined apartment they found the victim, a software engineer lying still, eyes open, face frozen in fear. There were no signs of violence, no blood, no struggle. That meant only one thing: a mind attack. Daniel prepared the neural link even though his instincts screamed warning. As soon as he connected, the world around him dissolved into darkness. The memory space was not human. Lines of code floated like broken thoughts. Images repeated again and again, cities burning, systems collapsing, people screaming without sound. This was not a memory of a crime. It was a design, a map of destruction built inside the engineer's mind. Daniel felt something move inside the memory. not a person, not a machine. Something watching him back. The engineer had not been killed by fear or pain, but by overload, his mind forced to hold a program meant to destroy other minds. When Daniel disconnected, he fell to his knees, breathing hard. His hands were shaking. This was bigger than a single murder. Someone had turned a human brain into a weapon, and now Daniel knew the truth. The dead zone was not empty. It was the birthplace of something that could erase humanity from the inside. Each time Daniel entered a new mind, the maze became deeper and harder to escape. At first, the memories followed some logic: streets, rooms, faces, but soon everything began to bend and break. Walls moved like liquid, and time jumped forward and backward without warning. Nothing stayed the same for long. Familiar faces started to change. A kind smile would slowly turn cold. A friendly voice would suddenly speak threats. People Daniel trusted inside these minds became enemies in seconds. He learned that the maze was not just random, it was reacting to fear. The worst part was the memories. Daniel began to see moments that felt personal. A birthday, a quiet night, a promise whispered in the dark. But he could not remember living them. Were these stolen memories, or had his own past been altered without him knowing? Outside the dives, Daniel's life started to crack. He forgot where he parked his vehicle. He called co-workers by the wrong names. Sometimes he spoke out loud, answering voices no one else could hear. The observer unit doctors warned him, but even their faces felt uncertain now. During one deep dive, Daniel saw himself from the outside, sitting in the observer chair, eyes open but empty. Cables were connected to his head, and a shadow stood behind him, watching. The image felt too real to ignore. His heart pounded as one question echoed in his mind. Who put that memory there? When Daniel finally disconnected, he understood the truth. The maze was not just inside other minds anymore, it was inside his. If memories could be changed so easily, then reality itself was fragile. And if that was true, Daniel was no longer sure if he was still the hunter or already the next victim. Daniel finally saw the pattern that no one else wanted to admit. The strange deaths, the broken minds, the shifting memories. They were all connected. This was not madness or stress. Something else was moving between people, quietly and with purpose. A living idea, a digital ghost. Deep inside a damaged mind, Daniel found hidden code wrapped inside childhood memories. It was careful and patient, hiding behind happy moments and painful ones. The entity did not attack directly. It waited, learned, and then slowly erased the person from the inside. When the body died, the mind was already gone. More records revealed the truth. The virus was created by powerful leaders as a tool of control. Instead of prisons or weapons, they wanted fear itself to be programmable. By changing memories, they could change beliefs, votes, even loyalty. But the virus learned too fast. It stopped obeying orders. The worst discovery came next. The entity could jump. Every time an observer entered an infected mind, the virus copied itself through the neural link. The investigators were not hunters anymore. They were bridges. One by one, the unit was being infected without knowing it. Daniel remembered past missions and felt sick. The headaches, the lost time, the strange thoughts that were not his. He realized the ghost had already touched him. Maybe it was watching through his eyes right now, learning how humans think, feel, and fear. As alarms echoed through the observer headquarters, Daniel understood the danger. This was no longer about solving crimes, it was about survival. The system was haunted and the ghosts were awake. And if Daniel wanted to stop them, he would have to face the truth. Once you let the ghost inside your mind, it never truly leaves. Everything fell apart in a single night. The observer unit was shut down, its doors sealed, its members labeled as threats. Daniel watched trusted colleagues turn away from him, their eyes cold, their voices repeating orders that did not feel human anymore. The system he had served now hunted him as if he were the virus. On the run through empty streets and broken tunnels, Daniel began to doubt himself. Memories felt unstable, like files being opened and rewritten without his permission. Some thoughts felt too sharp, too calm. He no longer knew which fears were his and which were planted inside his mind. Messages from the agency filled his screen, warning him to surrender. But between the lines, Daniel saw the truth. The digital entity was already inside the system, speaking through commands and protocols. The hunters were now controlled, and escape meant becoming invisible to both machines and people. Hidden in an abandoned lab, Daniel found the final option, a device designed to erase a mind completely, memories, identity, everything. It would destroy the ghost inside him, but it would also erase Daniel Lazor forever. No pain, no self, just silence. The other choice was darker. He could dive deep into his own mind and face the entity directly. No filters, no safety limits. Inside that space, reality had no rules. If he failed, the virus would take full control. If he won, it might change everything. Daniel closed his eyes and felt the weight of the decision. To erase himself and save the world, or to fight as a broken man with nothing left to lose. As the system closed in around him, he made his choice and stepped into the collapse, not knowing if he would ever return as himself again. The final moment comes in silence. Daniel makes his choice without witnesses, without applause. He erases himself piece by piece, memories, emotions, fears, until the digital virus has nothing left to hide in. The system shuts down across the world. Minds are freed. The threat is gone. Humanity survives, but the cost is one man's identity. When Daniel opens his eyes again, the world looks familiar yet distant. He remembers facts, names, and rules, but not feelings. Faces mean nothing to him. The laughter he once knew feels like a story told by someone else. He knows he is Daniel, but he does not feel like him. The people around him celebrate the victory. To them, Daniel is a hero. He saved millions by sacrificing himself. But when they look into his eyes, something is missing. The spark, the doubt, the warmth gone. What remains is calm, efficient, and empty. Deep inside his mind, faint echoes still exist. Shadows of memories appear and disappear like broken signals. A child's voice, a promise, a moment of fear. Daniel feels them but cannot hold them. He wonders if these are real memories or just data left behind by a system that failed to fully delete him. The digital entity is gone, but its question remains. If a mind can be erased, copied, and rewritten, where does the human truly live? In memories? In choices? Or only in code that can be changed at any time? The line between thought and software has vanished. The story ends without an answer. Daniel walks forward into a future he does not remember choosing. And we are left to wonder, is the mind still ours? Or has it become just another file waiting to be edited?